What good folks, it's Dark319 and welcome back to another What If, and I believe this is What If Naruto was a Sith Lord Part 2. Yeah, no, you good folks love the Part 1, so if you want more of this and Saiyan Naruto, you beautiful son of guns, need to do me a few favors, like, comment and subscribe, but besides all that, enjoy the video. Chapter 4: The Chunin Exams. Kaguya Kimimaro was usually a calm man, who worked his body to its limits each day to please his master Orochimaru of the Sannin, and current leader of the Sound Village in Rice Country. Found by the man shortly during his clan's destruction when they attacked Mist after their bloodlust got the better of them, the Snake Sannin gave the albino child a purpose that the last Kaguya never thought would be possible, and did everything in his power to keep it. However, in the past few months during Orochimaru's plans to attack Konoha during the Chunin exams, things began to change, and Kimimaro believed it was not in favor of the infamous Orochimaru. During the past few months, the now albino man was having a few coughing fits, with one case involved bloody mucus, and problems breathing properly because of it. To further add to the troubles of Kimimaro, was at night when he slept, a figure appeared in his mind telling him that Orochimaru cared nothing about his loyalty, and that the Sannin would cast him aside like a broken two without so much as a tear at the loss of the last Kaguya. Kimimaro was always angry when seeing this person in front of him, who was younger than him even, and spoke like Orochimaru was an evil vile monster. As if the Sannin was such a thing, right? Right. So for a time, Kimimaro ignored the words the figure spoke in his mind at night when he slept, and kept everything to himself about it because he didn't want Orochimaru to think he was going crazy. Orochimaru doesn't know what he is when it comes to you, Kimimaro. Rather than find a way to cure you, he wastes time in getting his revenge, and trying to crush the leaf. If you served me, I could find a means to cure you of your disease, and make you stronger than ever before. I respect you for your sense of loyalty to Orochimaru, but you have to understand that such loyalty will not be returned, and will throw you away for something he believes is better, said the voice, continuing to infuriate Kimimaro to no end. Shut up. You know nothing about Orochimaru-sama. He gave me purpose and direction to my life, thought Kimimaro, as he punched a wall next to him, and focused on the pain it caused him to block out the voice. I know it was a purpose to serve him, and it is the direction that he gives you. But what do you think will happen after you die? That he'll cry? He'll bury you with dignity? That is the last thing Orochimaru would do for someone like you. I, on the other hand, would treat you like a person and see to it that your life had a much larger meaning than simply serving me in battle for my own personal gains. If Orochimaru was smart, he would have you find a woman to have your child to continue on the legacy of your clan, and purpose in this world, said the voice, as the figure sensed Kimimaro tense at that, and knew the albino was interested. No woman would dare be with me now due to my growing condition, much less with me before when I was healthy, thought Kimimaro, as he had more than once thought about being with a woman for such a thing to happen, but Orochimaru had frowned upon it for some reason, and always seemed to have a strange look in his eyes when around Kabuto. Where you are right now? Possibly. However, I know that Mist would welcome you back with open arms, and could help you restore your clan. I can even cure that ever horrible disease that plagues your lungs, so you can teach your children how to use their bloodline and see to it that they don't make the same mistakes that your predecessors did, said the voice, as the figure once more made the albino feel emotions that were thought to be lost to him, and tried to mentally swat them away. But he failed. Can you really cure me of my pain? Thought Kimimaro while finding himself at war with his mind and heart. Yes, said the figure. What do you need me to do? Thought Kimimaro, as he was done fighting this voice, and the images of happiness the figure showed him in his dreams if he left Orochimaru. Follow my instructions carefully and make sure that no one follows you to Mist, said the voice, as the figure began telling Kimimaro what to say to Orochimaru, and to throw off the Sannin's suspicions of him. With Orochimaru sometime later, you wish to go water country? Am I hearing you right, Kimimaro? Said Orochimaru, as he saw his loyal subordinate kneel before him, and narrowed his eyes at the albino. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. A repressed memory came to me from my childhood of a man amongst our clan, who was working on curing the illness that pops up within our clan that I am currently plagued with, and I believe there is something in our clan home that could prove useful to cure it, said Kimimaro, as calmly as he could in front of the Sannin before him, and the albino knew had to be convincing if this was to work. Tell me the location where you wish to go, Kimimaro, and I will have Kabuto go there to collect what is there, said Orochimaru, as he studied his bodyguard carefully, and waited for the boy to speak. I'm afraid I cannot say, Orochimaru-sama. The possible item that Kabuto-san could use to cure me is locked away in the Kaguya clan home, and only a Kaguya can access the item, said Kimimaro, as he sensed Orochimaru was not entirely convinced, and knew there were ways around certain clan seals that the Sannin could use without the need for his bodyguard to go alone. I see. I find your sudden need to go to water country very coincidental now that the issue with bloodlines now resolved and welcomed back into Mist Kimimaro. You would not be planning to leave my services to join the new Mizukage, would you? Said the cold chilly voice of Orochimaru with his gaze hardening at Kimimaro. Never, Orochimaru-sama. The proof of my loyalty to you is worn proudly on my chest before you. I just wish to see if the item that could cure me is still there and bring it back for Kabuto to examine before seeing if it has that power, said Kimimaro as he looked up at the Sannin, and saw the man look at him with calculating eyes. Very well. I suppose I should trust you in that regard since you have done everything I have ever asked of you without question. Not only that, but if this item does exist, and Kabuto can make it cure you of your disease, I can use your body in the near future, said Orochimaru, as the idea of using Kimimaro's body once again appearing in his mind, and knew this would help him extend the training periods of his other bodies that would one day house his soul. Yes, Orochimaru-sama, said Kimimaro as he knew the Sannin's desire to use his body as his next vessel had been put on hold due to his condition, and Kabuto needing to run a few more tests to determine how bad it was. Go at once and find this item in your old clan home, Kimimaro, but if I have the slightest feeling you are betraying me for Mist, I will personally hunt you down, and make your clan nothing more than a memory to the world, said Orochimaru as he glared heavily at Kimimaro, and the albino nodded in understanding. Yes, Orochimaru-sama, said Kimimaro before leaving the room with a wave of relief washing over him. He's hiding something, said Kabuto, as he appeared behind the Sannin, and bowed in a respectful manner. So you say, Kabuto, but I know Kimimaro won't betray my trust after all I have given him, and if he does, not even his power can match mine should it come to disposing of him, said Orochimaru, as he knew that in the event that did happen, the Sannin had a means to remove the Kaguya from play, and move on without hesitation. So you say, thought Kabuto, as he wasn't so sure, and feared the Sannin was becoming a bit too arrogant. Water Country 2 weeks later, Kimimaro had made sure he wasn't followed by anyone from Sound or anyone at all for that matter since this needed to be done. Fortunately, the official record was the Kaguya clan were all wiped out years ago after they attacked Mist, and further stimulating the horrors of the bloodline purges. Unlike his fellow clan members, Kimimaro didn't look like most of his bloodthirsty family, and had control over his desire to maim others. It was what helped make himself the strongest of the clan and the reason why he was locked up by them should he decide to unleash his power upon them. Walking into a seedy bar, the albino Kaguya currently wearing a cloak with a hood had walked to the bar itself, and knocked on the wood in front of him 3 times to get the barkeep's attention. What do you want? Said the barkeep ready to administer the albino a drink. The elixir of life and restoration sounds promising. Do you have it? Said Kimimaro as he saw the barkeep nod casually, and acted it too. Yeah, but it's an expensive drink, and it's more for the high-class customers. If you drink it here, you could get a lot of people's attention, and that around here is not good, said the barkeep with Kimimaro nodding this time in understanding. I could drink it somewhere more private if you have such a location in the back, said Kimimaro, as he saw the man nod once, and motioned for him to follow. Kimimaro did just that before entering the back room, and then the barkeep knocked on the door across the room in a pattern of knocks like a combination before a door slot at head level opened revealing a shadowy face. Who knocks at the guarded gate? Said the figure with Kimimaro stepping up to the door to answer. One who has tasted its fruit and eaten its mysteries, said Kimimaro as he saw that the figure nod once, and then unlocked the door before opening it. Kimimaro stepped through the door and walked several feet in front of him before a light above him went on to reveal a crimson-robed figure like in his dreams. The Kaguya was now on guard, as his muscles tensed, and ready to use his bloodline to summon a bone-based weapon from his body. There will none of that, Kimimaro. I am not your enemy. Not anymore, said the figure, as he saw Kimimaro was not entirely convinced, and still tensed to strike should this be a trap. I came here as you said. I was not followed by anyone associated to Orochimaru, said Kimimaro, hoping this figure could grant him what he desired. I know. I have foreseen it where you would stand before me, Kimimaro. You have done all that I have asked of you to lead up to this point, and your trust in me will be rewarded as promised, said Naruto, as he revealed himself to the albino, and saw the Kaguya look at him with still uncertain eyes. Can you really cure me like you claimed? Said Kimimaro, as he needed to know if it was true, or some ruse to get him away from Orochimaru. Of course. Did I not promise you that? I always honor promises, Kimimaro. It is what separates me from Orochimaru. I know you feel loyalty to the Sannin for what he has done for you, and to be honest I feel some form of sympathy for the man in losing you over this. However, that sympathy dies after seeing how he manipulates others, does not return one's own loyalty, and discards others like they are second-rate pieces of trash, said Naruto, as his face became cold. and icy like that of a merciless winter storm. If you cure me, I will pledge my loyalty to you, and the new Mizukage, said Kimimaro before kneeling in front of Naruto. You realize by doing this, it will bring the wrath of Orochimaru down upon your person, and mine for that matter, said Naruto, as he knew Orochimaru would not be pleased by this traitorous action, and no doubt try to kill the albino Kaguya. In my currently weakened condition, I am no match for Orochimaru, but if I were healed of my disease, then my power would be on par with his, and I could kill him if given the chance, said Kimimaro, as he saw Naruto nod, and commanded him to rise from his kneeling position. Then I will delay your cure and recovery no longer. Come my friend, we have work to do, and not enough time to do it at the pace we would like, said Naruto, as he put his hood over his head before walking deep into the shadows of the room with Kimimaro right behind him, and the beginning of a new destiny for the last Kaguya of the elemental countries. Konoha Hokage Tower at the moment, I'm very disappointed in you Sandaime Hokage, and I am not easily disappointed, said the fire daimyo, as he sat across from the Sandaime Hokage in the man's office, and had a look on his face that could make steel melt. I know daimyo-sama. I am sorry beyond words, said the Hokage, as he felt so ancient right now in front of the fire daimyo, and no doubt felt it too with the way his students had yelled at him after Naruto left in that strange metal thing that looked like the airships that were rumored to exist in Snow Country. Sorry is an understatement. Do you know who handed this to me in the middle of court when I was with my wife and all was well within my world that is Fire Country? It was a Kumo ambassador, who kneeled down before me in front of the entire public that was my court, and announced for all to hear how this scroll from mist was to be given to me due to its contents relating to the life of the Yondaime's son while here in the leaf. Imagine my surprise to read how that the Yondaime's son was treated like crap. No, crap is such a weak word here, I believe I should rephrase that, and say he was treated like less than crap while in the leaf. All under your watch, and you let it happen without so much as batting an eyelash of guilt towards him after being beaten within an inch of his life. So please tell me your reasoning for tolerating not only this village, its people, and you along with the entire governing body of Konoha? Give me a reason to not have a large army of my samurai come to Konoha and simply burn it to the ground with everyone inside of it being turned to ash? Said the fire daimyo, as he saw the Sandaime looking even more nervous, scared out of his mind at his words, and for good reason since such an action was a simple command away. I can't give you any reason daimyo-sama other than the fact that there are still innocent people in this village and they should be spared your wrath, said the Sandaime, as he knew that the leaf was on thin ice right now, and even more so with clients since they had been losing them recently since the contents of that scroll holding a tell-all book of events of Naruto's life in Konoha. Well, lucky for you, there still are innocent people in the leaf, who are not guilty as sin like most of the population here in Konoha, and I will spare them my wrath, to small if only to a limited extent, said the fire daimyo, as he saw the Sandaime nodding, and knew he had the leaf by the balls right now with a simple flick of his wrist that could rip them off without hesitation. I understand, said the Sandaime, since he knew there was no point resisting. As of now, the leaf village is being put on notice, and you are going to be under a more watchful eye. I left the leaf in your capable hands because of your experience in running the village before you retired, but I see now that was a mistake, and I should have left someone else in charge to handle its affairs. Make no mistake Sandaime, the people that hurt Yondaime's son are going to be properly punished for their actions before they are forgiven in my eyes, and I expect you to enforce my decisions or expect your grandson to pay for your mistakes in your place. As for your two councils, I am reducing all their powers to what they should be, which is down to non-existent, and advisory only when it comes to shinobi matters. The civilian council will only handle civilian affairs, which do not fall under shinobi families, and that will be handled by the clan heads along with yourself with your shinobi council acting only as advisors. They can speak their minds, but it will be up to you to make up your own, and I expect you to handle things properly from now on. If you don't, said the fire daimyo, as he let the word sink into the old cage's skull, and the Sandaime nodded knowing full well the threat behind it could be carried out. Hidden Mist Village Hospital sometime later, are you sure that this will work Naruto-kun? Said Haku, as she saw him standing over a shirtless Kimimaro with his curse seal showing, and monitors with wires running over parts of his body to cover his vitals. It's either this or the man dies slowly of this fatal disease, Haku-chan. That is not how a warrior wants to die, right Kimimaro? Said Naruto, as he had gone over everything with the albino, and since the man was scared yet ready for this. The idea was to manipulate the force and Kyuubi's chakra into Kimimaro's body around the damaged portions of his lungs before purging the disease right out the man. It was tricky, and in all honesty Naruto had never done anything like this before, much less used the force to help heal another being considering who it was that trained him in it. Still, it was possible if anything the Emperor and Darth Vader told him about the Force were true, along with the knowledge gained by accessing a few of the Sith holocrons that the Emperor had on Biss for him to look at during his training. In the event that I do not survive, I wish to be buried with dignity and honor worthy of my clan, said Kimimaro, as he saw Naruto nod his head in understanding, and braced himself. I can't numb your body for this, Kimimaro, so please forgive me when I hurt you, said Naruto, as he handed the man mouth bracer to bite down on, and the albino shook his head. I won't need it, said Kimimaro in a matter-of-fact tone. Trust me when I say, Kimimaro, you will need it, said Naruto, as he let the albino bite the object before getting into position with Haku ready to help should he need it. I'm ready, said Kimimaro clearly enough despite the mouthpiece before Naruto put his hands on the albino's chest before Kyuubi's crimson chakra wrapped around his body. And thus began the long hours of Kaguya, Kimimaro screaming out in pain as the disease that had long since been a curse of his clan, and now was purged from his body. When it was over, Kimimaro was alive, yet unconscious from the intense pain that had assaulted him, and if he saw himself now, he would also his curse seal was gone. As for Naruto, he was sitting in a chair exhausted from using his powers, and breathing heavily from using so much of his powers. Haku had a few nurses take Kimimaro away to a private room with Anbu standing guard while she stayed behind to help Naruto recover. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? Said Haku, as she saw how drained he was from using his powers to heal Kimimaro, and saw him smile at her. Yeah. I'm fine. My old master would be rolling in his grave if he saw me do that with the Force and Kyuubi's power to heal Kimimaro, said Naruto, as he let out a small laugh before breathing heavily again, and felt Haku touch to be quite soothing. I have spoken with Zabuza-sama earlier before Kimimaro's procedure. He wants us to be enrolled in the Chunin exams that are being held in Konoha, but he wants to know what you think, and if he should let us, said Haku, as she saw him close his eyes in thought, and waited his answer. The future is always in motion. I sense a plot to destroy Konoha aside from the one I have planned with Kumo, and the source of it is that of Orochimaru, said Naruto, as he saw the future was filled with countless possibilities, and the snake Sannin was planning something with Suna. Though what exactly Naruto wasn't sure, as the visions became clouded, and made him frown knowing he would have to wait until the time was right to look into the future once again. We can make preparations if need be for that, said Haku, as she saw Naruto nod his head, and get up from his chair with her help. I sense our presence in the leaf is needed, but I do have a small question, Haku, and that is, just how will be a Shinon team when we are one person short? Said Naruto, as he had taken the liberty of reading up on the ways of the shinobi along with rank qualifications, and knew that the Chunin exams required a team of 3 Shinon. Zabuza-sama suggested that we recruit Kimimaro to the mission, as he can give us key detailed information about Orochimaru's invasion plan for the leaf, and allow us to make a proper counter to it, said Haku, as she saw Naruto nod, and smile at her that caused the ice user to blush. Agreed. Put him under an assumed name and keep his bloodline a secret until Kimimaro is ready to work with us. I have to deliver my report to the Mizukage. The operation was a success, said Naruto, as he knew Zabuza would be pleased with Kimimaro's curing, and would want the albino ready immediately. Konoha Hokage Tower, start of the Chunin exams, you all know why you are here. I have received information about the Shinon team from Mist that is heading here to take part in the Chunin exams. One of them is Namikaze Naruto, said the Sandaime, earning gasps from the Anbu, Jounin, Chunin, and the 2 council members in the room with the clan heads getting their interests piqued. What do you want us to do? Subdue him and take him to Inoiki to erase his mind? Said a Jounin, since that was always possible. No. The Fire Daimyo has already stated we are on thin ice as it is. One screw up from us and he'll march his samurai here to kill everyone in it regardless if they're innocent people here or not. No doubt the Mizukage has already informed the Fire Daimyo that Naruto is coming here to participate in any attempt on him, no matter what it may be, could bring us more disgrace in his eyes, said the Sandaime, seeing everyone murmur to the person next to them. So you want to let his team pass without opposition? Said Ibiki, as he didn't like doing that, and yet couldn't blame the kid for being hostile to Konoha. No. I'm not saying that either. Do your job, Ibiki, and see how well Naruto's team does. Do not fail him or his team unless they fail legitimately. It's the only way that the Fire Daimyo will spare the leaf his wrath. The Namikaze clan and the Fire Daimyo family go back long before Konoha was even founded by the Shodaime. Our feudal lord considers what the leaf did to Naruto an insult to him and to the boy's ancestor, with one more hit to that ancestry being the final nail in our coffins, said the Sandaime, as he saw them nod their heads and look away a bit guilty. What about that team from Kumo? It's been rumored that they are sending over one of their demon vessels to participate, said Asuma, as he saw some people tense at that, and knew that some people would not let their bigotry go. Since Kumo is allied with Mist, any action against them would be the same as if it were done to Mist, and we do not have the strength to repel both villages with Fire Daimyo threatening to cut off all support to the Leaf, said the Sandaime, as he knew that both Jiraiya and Tsunade would not help Konoha either for the village's mistakes. Great. As if we need two of those things running around our village, said the Haruno councilman before getting glared at by several people. Be mindful of what you say from here on out, councilman. One slip up from any one of us will cause the death of every person in Konoha that lives here, said the Sandaime, as he saw the man grumble, but stay silent for the most part, and the old cage turned to the various shinobi in the room. What about our students? What happens if they interact with Naruto or his team? Said Kakashi, as he saw the Sandaime close his eyes, and sighing heavily. Keep them away from them. Especially the Uchiha. Knowing that boy, we could have problems, and I don't want any when it comes to Naruto, said the Sandaime, seeing the scarecrow of a shinobi nod, and saw the others thinking the same way. Hopefully, Naruto wouldn't make any kind of scene, and force the Leaf to do something it would later regret. Konoha Street's a random alleyway at the moment, are you both ready for this? Said Naruto, as he saw Haku wearing a blank white mask, and the uniform she wore when she was the fake hunter nin for Zabuza. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro, as he now wore black pants, a shirt with matching trench coat with steel-toed boots, and fingerless gloves with his hair having been cut to a shorter length while he wore bandages over his lower face. We know what to do, Naruto-kun, said Haku, as the plan to make it to the Chunin exam finals was considered a priority for them, and at least one of them had to make it for the Mizukage to have a reason to come to Konoha for it. The same with Kumo's team for the Raikage too. Good. Kimimaro, as of this moment until further notice, you will be addressed by the two of us, and the Mizukage simply as, Starkiller, said Naruto in honor of the former apprentice of Darth Vader and secretly hoped the young man was doing all right in the galaxy. I understand, said Kimimaro, as he knew that no one could know his real name, and that this code name would help keep Orochimaru from knowing it was him. Good. The first part of the exam is tomorrow. Let us go to our designated hotel and, said Naruto, as he started walking, but stopped when he heard a commotion not far from them, and the cries of help coming from a young kid not that far away. You damn brat. You ran into me. Apologize right now, said a boy wearing what looked like a black cat suit and makeup while an older girl behind with blonde hair and pigtails with an iron fan on her back was looking away disinterested. Let go of me, you weird dressed and talking girl, said the boy, who turned out to be the grandson of the Sandaime Hokage, and was kicking his feet violently. I'm a Gayubaka, said the boy with tick marks on his head. What's this? An S&N transsexual picking on a kid? Said Naruto, walking towards the boy, now looking angry at him, while the blonde girl with pigtails had to fight back the laughter she wanted to let out. What do you carry, you robe-wearing freak? Said the boy while the girl behind him sweat dropped. Should I be worried that he didn't deny it? Thought the blonde-haired girl before looking at the figure her brother was currently arguing with before her face went pale. If I am a freak, then what does that make you, and your feminine makeup-covered face? Said Naruto, as he smirked the angry expression on the other boy's face, and threw the little kid away before bringing out the wrapped-up object behind him. Konkuro, you're not considering using Crow, are you? Said Tamari, as she watched her younger brother look back with a smirk on his face, and then looked back the crimson-robed Namikaze. Don't worry, Tamari. This kid looks weak even if he is a Jinan from Mist, said a clearly overconfident Konkuro, as he was about to unveil Crow, but stopped when he couldn't breathe, and collapsed to his knees gasping for air. Foolish Suna Shinobi. I find your lack of intelligence to be disturbing, said Naruto, as he had his arm stretched out, and his arm in a squeezing motion. His action looked similar to Gaara's with his sand. Thought Tamari and Konkuro in fear at the sight of it. Naruto-kun, you should stop, or we might get in trouble for causing a scene, said Haku, as she sensed two people behind her, and saw Team 7's pink-haired girl run into them before Naruto let Konkuro go. As you wish. You with the red hair behind us, please stand before me, and introduce yourself properly, said Naruto, as he waited for a second while the two in front went pale with fear, and the boy in question that brought it now manifested himself before them. Konkuro, you are an embarrassment to the village, and to me, said Gaara, as he saw his quivering, and still out of breath older brother pleading for his life. GG Gaara, it wasn't my fault. That kid bumped into me and, said Konkuro, who was silenced by the glare and killing intent of Gaara. Shut up or I will kill you, said Gaara with the statement sounding very much like a fact. Good thing he isn't strong with the force or he'd be a pretty mean Sith, thought Naruto, as he sensed something was off about Gaara, and knew the dark rings under the boy's eyes were parts of it. "Please tell me your name," said Gaara, as he now faced Naruto and his teammates. "My name is Namikaze Naruto, but you may call me the Demon Hand if you wish, and behind me is Momochi Haku along with Starkiller of the Mist Village." "Your name?" said Naruto calmly, though his voice was cold like a frosty winter. "Subaku no Gaara. Behind me is my older brother Konkuro and sister Tamari from Suna. We are here for the Chunin exams." "The same as you, correct?" said Gaara, seeing Naruto nod with his team doing the same. "Correct. I look forward to facing you in the Chunin exams in the distant future, Subaku no Gaara," said Naruto, as he extended his hand, and Gaara took it. That caused his poor siblings to look at him with shock. Normally when Gaara took hold of someone's limbs, they don't exactly keep it, and it normally gets devoured by Gaara's sand. "You are strong. Mother will have your blood soon during the exams." "I can feel it," said Gaara, as he grinned sadistically, and Naruto did the same. "Perhaps, but I think that your mother is not going to get it so easily, and you can thank a certain fox of mine for that form of resistance to her desires for me," said Naruto, as he saw Gaara's eyes widen slightly in understanding before letting go of the blonde's hand, and took a few steps back. "So he's like me." "The rumors are true," thought Gaara, since he had heard the Yondaime's son had become a demon vessel, but lost for well over half a decade, and now rumored to return serving the mist. "Farewell, Subaku no Gaara. See you tomorrow," said Naruto, as he walked away from the Sunan Inn before stopping at the tree Gaara had hidden himself on, and in a quick flash of red had sliced the tree trunk in a diagonal cut that made it fall to reveal Uchiha Sasuke was watching them from that same perch. "What was that?" thought Sasuke, Sakura, Gaara, Konkuro, and Tamari all in one, while the Sundaime's grandson thought it was cool. "Stay out of my way, Uchiha. I have no problem running you over," said Naruto, as he left with his teammates, and left an infuriated Uchiha behind. Leaf Shinobi Academy Room 301. The next day Naruto could feel eyes from all over were on him and his team long after they entered the room, with whispers from those people being heard by his ears thanks to Kyuubi sealed within him having heightened all the senses to make things easier for him. He smiled under his crimson black hood, as he heard the whispers about him, how he had become part demon on his travels, made a deal with the Kyuubi, and wielded unnatural powers by offering virgin sacrifices to the fox. The last part was kind of hysterical, though he sensed Haku was a bit flustered by it, and Naruto had to ignore Kyuubi telling him to mate with his teammate to appease the nine-tailed beast. Honestly, not everything about these rumors had to be true, or close to it for that matter. Naruto-sama, the white-haired boy with glasses, is named Kabuto. He is secretly working for Orochimaru as a spy for him against the Leaf, and is also a skilled medic nin. His shinobi skills are secretly that of Jounin level, said Kimimaro through his bandages in a small whisper before seeing Naruto nod slightly. "Yes. I sense he is a key component to Orochimaru's plans. For now, we will let him live, and deal with him at a more appropriate time," said Naruto, as he saw his teammates nod, and knew that the opportunity to kill Kabuto would arise eventually. As this was spoken, the Rookie 9 and Guy's team were around Kabuto, showing them his info cards after he introduced himself to them. "Tell me about Namikaze Naruto," said Sasuke, as he wanted to know everything about that boy, and find out how he got so strong. "Oh, I see you know his name. Well, that does make things easier, and help me give you his stats," said Kabuto, as he brought out his info card, and then looked at Naruto's stats, though it only caused him to frown. "What is it?" said Kiba, as he saw the frown and the uncertainty. "It says here that Namikaze Naruto is the Yondaime Hokage's son, was kidnapped at the age of 6, and returned to the public eye with strange new powers while apparently given the title of the Demon Hand by persons unknown. Defeated Team 7 in Wave Country and helped kill the Yondaime Mizukage. There is nothing else here," said Kabuto, as he saw the Leaf Shinon in front of him looking nervous at that, and didn't give them any real insight to his power. "What about his teammates?" said Kiba, looking at the two with interest. "One is Momochi Haku, who is considered the adopted daughter of Momochi Zabuza, the current Mizukage, and possibly has a bloodline. The second individual is unknown, except for his supposed name, and only responds when called, Starkiller. Nothing else about him is known," said Kabuto, as he saw everyone around him getting nervous in regards to Naruto's team, and for good reason. They were three unknowns from a bloodthirsty village, which was now ruled by a man, who literally rewrote the rules to the Miss Academy graduation exam, and they all looked strong. "Does anyone else feel a bit outclassed?" said Kuji, as he was munching on his chips, and saw the others looking nervous right now. "Hinata," said Shino, as she saw the girl was stealing her resolve, but the Aburame could tell she was still secretly nervous, and knew the pressure her clan put on her. "I'm fine, Shino. Nothing will stop me from becoming Chonin, said Hinata silently, but the look in her eyes told Shino that she was determined, and he nodded his head. After what happened with Naruto disappearing 6 years ago, Hinata had become cold to everyone around her, as if another side of her had come out with Naruto's persona not being there, and had made it known to others. In class, Hinata was the strongest of all the female shinobi in her class, dominating all, and proved she was indeed a strong member of the main family. Hyuga Neji learned all too well to meet the demands of his cousin, as the failure to do so would result in the cage bird seal being used when he displeased her, but they were rare, and she would normally hurt him during spars. The girl's younger sister Hanabi was trying to push herself just as hard to prevent the cage bird seal being used on her and yet could not beat Hinata in combat. At the same time, Hinata refused to let her victories over Hanabi to result in the Hyuga clan elders placing the seal on her, and stated that Hanabi was still young with time needed to improve her gentle fist skills. As cold as Hinata was, she was not about to have her little sister have that seal on her, and was going to stall such an act for as long as she could. In another portion of the room, Niyugido saw the Hyuga heiress standing next to her Jinan team, and saw the very prize that the Kumo ambassador had failed to achieve 9 years ago. Looking around, the Nibi vessel saw Naruto with his team, and could hear the two-tailed cat purring with delight at seeing him here. I hope you get some alone time with him, kitten. It's been too long since we've last seen him, said Nibi, as she made her vessel blush, and sputtering mentally. Nibi. We've only been away from him for a few months and you act like it's been a few centuries, thought Yugito, as she saw the Nibi yawn, and stretch within her mind before sitting down again lazily. True, but you have to admit he is quite a catch, and those little fantasies you've been having about him since then haven't helped either, said Nibi to further embarrass her vessel. That's because you gave me those dreams, yelled Yugito mentally at Nibi, who saw the cat laugh, and smile mischievously at her. I only gave you what you desire, kitten. You've been near Naruto before he left Kumo, you've smelled his scent using the enhanced senses I've given you, and you know that he is perfect for a girl like you. Don't deny it, I've seen the dreams, and even I did not know you could bend your back that far, said Nibi, as she laughed at Yugito's red-faced look, and shoved the blonde-haired woman out of her mind to focus on the written test being handed out by a scar-faced leaf shinobi. Had Yugito paid more attention to her surroundings, she would have seen the boy that had caught her interest sitting next to the Hyuga heiress, and sensed an angry aura from the boy's female teammate being aimed at her. Naruto simply smiled at the questions before him, as he ignored them all, and turned his head slightly to Hyuga Hinata currently trying to focus on the test in front of her. Keyword was trying, of course, as Hinata felt an intense heat rise to her face, and her heart was thumping in a way she had almost forgotten when she last saw Naruto all those years ago. She had been so shy, as well as timid when Hinata first met Naruto, when a group of kids at the playground were picking on her due to the color of her eyes, and the blonde boy had come to her rescue. Naruto had beat the boys bloody with a fury Hinata didn't think was possible in a 6-year-old, and befriended her before the kid's parents came to beat him bloody. From what Hinata saw, Naruto had managed to escape the Baka parents' own wrath, but the moment had long after been burned into the Hyuga heiress's brain, and had long since felt a pull to the blonde sitting next to her. Focus, Hyuga Hinata. If you don't focus, then your team will fail the exam, and we can't have that, said Naruto, as he saw Hinata's face blush with embarrassment, and stared at her paper with more focus, though not without stealing a few glances at the boy. I can't believe Naruto-kun's sitting next to me. He's gotten so handsome since I last saw him, thought Hinata, as she had to restrain herself from using her Byakugan on him, and see what he looked like beyond the clothing before she mentally scolded herself for such perverted thoughts. Haku. Starkiller. Can you hear me? Speak using your minds only, said Naruto through the forced mind of Haku and Kimimaro. Yes, Naruto-kun/Sama, thought Haku and Kimimaro. Good. I've used the force to find the answers to the questions. Prepare to receive them, said Naruto, as he had used the force to see the tests from the hidden Chonin posing as Jinan, and connected with his teammates for them to see what he did. By the time the 10th question came, Naruto's team was ready for it, and remained calm while the exam proctor Morino Ibiki told them what it was. Needless to say, everyone was shocked by it, and some even protested while saying the question was unfair. Ibiki just smirked and told the Jinan, who just happened to be Inuzuka Kiba, that he didn't give a shit, and that it was his decision to make up the rules for it whether the people in this room taking the test liked it or not. So who here is going to raise their hand to quit, and who here is going to stay to take the test knowing that failure to get it right could result in your forever being a Jinan? Said Ibiki, as he saw the most scared Jinan raise their hands to signify they were giving up, and left with their tails between their legs. Ibiki smiled knowing he still had the touch to affect minds on others. His smile left him when he heard laughter coming from the most unlikely source, and it was from Namikaze Naruto of all people. The boy slowly rose from his chair, removed his hooded face, and had a full-blow smile on his face that gave off a feral look to him before giving off an almost insane laugh. I haven't laughed that hard in years. Maybe at all. Thank you for that small moment of entertainment, Ibiki-san, said Naruto with a smile on his face before bowing his head slightly to the scarred man while Ibiki frowned back at him while he sat back down. There is nothing funny about this test, Gaki, said Ibiki, as he saw Naruto shake his head in disagreement, and laugh a little more before calming down. My apologies, Ibiki-san, but for me taking this test is funny, as I have done things that make it, and your intimidation tactics you're throwing at us look like a joke. I have done, experienced, and seen things that would shock if not awe you. I have seen things that in reality would make you think I'm crazy and should be locked up if I told you right now. This paper test, your tactics to make me, and my team break are no more effective than the world's smartest dust mite trying to do the same thing. Regardless if I fail the next question or not, I have no intention of stopping and being what I am, and I intend to make myself infamous because of it. I mean, can you imagine full-fledged Leaf Jounin being killed by a Genon-ranked shinobi of the mist? This could crush the reputation of this very village, and it would be of its own making, so I have nothing to lose. Bring it on, said Naruto with the last three words being spoken in the deadly whisper, and covered his head in his crimson black hood of his robes. Why that cocky little shit? He's practically daring me to fail him and he doesn't care. Shit. And it worked for everyone else too. No one else is scared to take it. Over 20 teams left in this room. Damn. Anko is going to make me hear about this for months, thought Ibiki before sighing in defeat and telling everyone that stayed that they passed his test before he explained to them the 10th question. Naruto smiled victoriously at Ibiki, and the scarred leaf shinobi was tempted to smack it right off his face. Alright, you maggots, there is no time to waste, as the sexy Mitarashi Anko is here, and so is the second part of the exams, yelled Anko after she crashed through the window and showing off her banner to them. Anko, you're early, said Ibiki from behind her banner while the said woman, who was wearing only a skirt, fishnet shirt, and trench coat looked sheepish before seeing how many we left. Damn Ibiki, you must be getting old. You still have so many teams here, said Anko, as she was surprised that there were so many left in the room, and saw Ibiki smirk at her. Not really. There was just one person here among them that reminded all of their balls, said Ibiki, as he pointed to Naruto, and Anko's line of sight followed. Yeah, well, when I get through with them, they'll wish they left their balls here, and go crying back to their mommies, said Anko, as she grinned sadistically, and told all of the Genon in the room to follow her. As they did, Ibiki went to collect papers, and stopped when he saw Naruto's own. It was blank with exception of something written below. Despite what I said, Ibiki, your tactics are impressive for someone of this world, and you should be commended for it. However, do not think for 1 second that I am planning to forgive this shithole you call a home for what it did, and forget the betrayal the leaf has done to me along with my family. Tell the old bastard and the other old bastards that conspired against me that they will answer for everything when the time is right. Tell them the demon hand will have his 10 pounds of flesh from every single one of them whether they like it, or not. Namikaze Naruto, the demon hand great. The Hokage is going to shit himself when he sees this, thought Ibiki, as he had pocketed this particular test, and finished up knowing that this was going to be a long Chunin exam. Training ground number 44, aka Forest of Death, welcome to the Leaf's pride and joy in tearing wet behind the ears Genon team's new orifices. Behind the Forest of Death, said Anko, as she showed them the gated forest with signs telling everyone that saw it to stay the hell away from it, and enter at their own risk if they did. I've seen worse, said Naruto, which he had since some worlds he had been to had vast vegetation that made this forest look like a bush, and a scrawny one at that. Anko, not liking Naruto's boastful attitude, decided to scare him, and threw a kunai at his face before moving in behind to make the blonde shit his pants. However, the kunai she threw never reached him, as it was stopped in midair, which shocked everyone that saw it, and the same could be said for Anko too. So shocked that she failed to notice Naruto was now behind her with his katana sword covered in blue chakra near her throat, with his teammates on either side of the special jounin with kunai aimed at her sides. Don't do that again or you will lose your head, said Haku in an icy voice. Then tell your boyfriend not to be so boastful, said Anko, as she saw Haku's body had stiffened slightly, and would have done more to get a reaction out of the masked girl had it not been for Naruto growling into her ear. You should listen to your own advice, Anko-san. After all, anyone who dresses and acts like you is just painting a target on their backs. So do try to keep your wild side in check or you'll find it difficult to crash through windows in a dramatic fashion without your head attached to your body, said Naruto before nodding to his team, and all three of them released Anko from their formation. Alright, that's enough screwing around. All of you need to sign these forms so in the event you die, which some of you will I might add, the leaf is not held responsible, and have no guilt no matter how brutal your death is, said Anko, as she had a stack of forms in her hands, and handed them out to everyone with three magically it seemed floating over to the mist team before the forms floated back moments later to the shocked special Jounin. And what do we exactly do while in the Forest of Death? Said Sasuke, as each team was soon handed one scroll, and Anko now had a flare gun in her hand. The objective is to get the opposite scroll that your team has and make it to the central tower in the Forest of Death before the time limit of 5 days expires. You want a word of advice? Don't die, said Anko, which scared most of the Jounin, but not all of them, and that included the mist team. Let the bloodbath begin, said Kimimaro as he revealed his sword with an ivory hilt, and a jagged-edged blade that looked like it was made of bone. Well spoken, Starkiller. Soon you will have your wish and soon we will have our much-desired revenge, said Naruto in a whisper, as he sensed the presence of someone hiding their signature from everyone, and it came from the grass Jounin team. Using the force to pierce the person hiding their true self, Naruto's eyes widened in surprise to sense it was none other than Orochimaru posing as a grass, and then narrowed his eyes that had now turned yellow for a second. Redirecting himself to the gate in front of him, Naruto made a hand motion for his teammates to follow, and they moved with lightning speed into the Forest of Death. It was time to put a part of their plan into action. Chapter 5 Preliminaries. Naruto smiled under his hooded robes, as he sensed the force run through this Forest of Death in a fascinating mixture of both light and dark side alignment. Many shinobi had gone through this place to compete in the Chunin exams, but not everyone survived the ordeal, and became one with the force in the process. The reason behind the strange mixture was that not everyone that competed in this part of the exam were pure-hearted and honorable shinobi. I could walk through this area forever, thought Naruto, as he bathed himself in the force mixture, and loved how it felt upon his own person. Naruto-sama seems different now. His stance is one that is aloof and filled with pleasure I cannot describe, though Kimimaro, as he did not understand the nature behind the force that Naruto called it, and yet could see that there was something that was causing this behavior in his master. Haku was thinking the same thing, as she saw her Naruto's stance had shifted while they were in the Forest of Death, and suspected it had something to do with the force. From the way the blonde described this mystical power, it sounded similar to the Senju clan's own affinity for nature itself, but on a much larger, and perhaps evolved scale than what the nearly wiped out clan possessed. She had seen Naruto use his power to lift objects off the ground like they weighed as much as a feather, but in reality such objects required the intense physical strength of Senju Tsunade to lift them, and had seen his anger when one of the mist shinobi that hated bloodlines had been harassing the ice user. Needless to say, the man that was harassing Haku for possessing a bloodline would never do anything again after Naruto turned the man to ashes, and using a Sith technique to make it possible. Naruto-kun, I sense the team from Iwa is not far away, and seem to be hesitant to come near us, said Haku, as she sensed the team from Iwa, and their chakra flux telling her that they were scared. Of course they are. They know who I am. They know who my father is. The fact I was the one that helped Zabuza kill the Mizukage is also making them hesitant. However, we cannot let them pass this exam, but I have no intention of shedding needless blood, and I have other business to attend to without the need to look over my shoulder. I leave them to you, Haku. Kill them if you want, but I want their scroll, and I want them taken out of this exam before they can make up their minds, said Naruto, as he saw Haku nod, and leave via ice mirror to take care of them. What about me, Naruto-sama? Should I not assist? Said Kimimaro, as he saw Naruto turn his head, and shake his head no to the question. Haku is more than capable of handling such weak shinobi, my Starkiller. If I sent you to take the scroll, they would be a bloody mess in your wake, and I have no desire to kill the weaklings of Iwa to advance my own gains. My old master would do that, but I am not him, and I will not have you waste your energy on Iwa when your skills are needed in a far more different direction, said Naruto, as he saw Kimimaro nod, and knew just what that direction was. The enemy Kimimaro needed to find and kill was Kabuto. What about Orochimaru? Said Kimimaro, as he had told Naruto about what the Sannin wanted here in Konoha, and a certain Uchiha Sasuke that the snake desired for a new body. Leave him to me, my Starkiller. I want you to rendezvous with the Kumo team here and to coordinate with them to kill Kabuto along with his teammates, said Naruto, as he had already explained that Niyugito's team could be trusted, and treat them with respect. Should I do that now? Said Kimimaro, since now would be the best time to take out the Sannin spy. Yes. Wipe Kabuto and his team out, my Starkiller. All three of them, said Naruto coldly before turning to stare at Kimimaro with his cold blue eyes that secretly made the Kaguya shiver. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro, as he had been told where to meet the Kumo shinobi prior to entering the Forest of Death, and headed there right now. Now to take away one of Orochimaru's reasons for being in the leaf, said Naruto, as he knew that when the snake is being too elusive to pin down by yourself, you need to target its prey and take said prey out of the equation. Hokage Tower. At the moment the Sandaime sighed tiredly at the sight of his two students, who were frowning at him, and wished that things had turned out differently. Both his students had been angered beyond measure at the fact Kushina had been killed by Danzo and he had done nothing to punish the old war hawk for it. The Sandaime tried to explain, but Tsunade had slammed her fist on his desk looking redder than the blood she feared to ever see, and practically dared him to give them some lame excuse. They left Naruto alone for 6 years of his life on the belief the boy's red-haired mother would raise the child, and only after the abduction of the Yondaime's son did the old monkey decide to contact them. So Naruto is here now like I thought he was. I take it he's not happy being here unless it's with a purpose, said Jiraiya, as his spies were having a hard time getting into Mist, and even a more impossible task of reaching him. It was like Naruto could sense who was spying on the leaf and who was loyal to it. Yes. I tried sending a message to his hotel room to have him see me, but the messenger came back with a glassy-eyed look on his face, and simply stated go fuck yourself right before the messenger collapsed. I need you to talk to him and convince him that his home is here in the leaf, said the Sandaime, as he saw Jiraiya scoffing, and Tsunade scowling while looking out the window. And what do we hope to offer him? We may have been his godparents, but we weren't there for him when we should have been, and that is mostly your fault, you old bastard. You should have sent for us the instant Kushina was declared dead, said Tsunade, as she saw the old man look away, and out the very same window she was looking at. I know, but the councils wouldn't hear of it, and stated it would only draw attention to us. They felt you Jiraiya were better suited out in the field gathering information, and that you Tsunade were unfit to raise Naruto since they feared she would take him away from the leaf, said the Sandaime simply, though it did little to calm them. Of course I would have. Those Bakas treated the boy like shit. I may not be perfect in many ways, Sarutobi, but I would never have left my godson to knowingly suffer, and leave him alone like you did after Kushina died. You betrayed me, Nato's, Kushina's, and our trust along with Naruto's own. The only reason I'm staying in the village now is due to the boy needing to see us, and knowing that we want to be his godparents like it was supposed to be. The fire daimyo may have punished the leaf for its transgressions, but my grandfather's village is far from ever being forgiven, and I hope you realize this when Naruto one day comes to collect his own 10 pounds of flesh from you, Sandaime Hokage, said Tsunade, as she got up, and left the room with Jiraiya slowly doing the same, though he looked at the old cage one more time to say what was on his mind. Don't be surprised if Naruto does come here to take your head off, old man, and don't be surprised when either I or Tsunade decide not to help you, said Jiraiya, and left the room so the old cage could fully understand the ramifications of his actions against Naruto. In the Forest of Death with Team 7 it had happened so fast, the Jinan team run by Hatake Kakashi never saw it coming, as they were sent flying by a powerful wind-based blast that sent them scattering. When they all came to, Sai was nowhere to be found. Sakura was on the ground nearly 15 feet away from Sasuke, and the said Uchiha was slowly getting to his feet while shaking his head to get the cobwebs out. What the hell was that? Said Sasuke, as he looked around to see Sai was not around, and Sakura was slowly coming out of her unconsciousness. Oh dear, you're still awake, and here I wanted to strike while you were at your weakest, Sasuke-kun, said a smooth voice in the shadows that made the Uchiha shiver. Show yourself, said Sasuke, as he heard the smooth voice let out a chuckle, and made the Uchiha even more nervous. Remember the old saying, Uchiha Sasuke? Be careful what you wish for since you just might get it, said the figure, who appeared to reveal herself to be one of the grass nin that had entered the Chonin exams, and had a wicked smile on her face. No shit, thought Sasuke, as he got ready for a fight, and began fighting the blonde before someone had interfered on his behalf. And it wasn't Sai or Sakura. Forest of Death. Moments ago Sai got off the ground, as he looked to see his teammates were nowhere to be found, and made him concerned for the Uchiha since Danzo had given him orders to protect the boy at all costs. So when the blast of wind hit him, it made Sai realize that Sasuke could in fact be in trouble, and against someone of incredible power if the jutsu used was any real indication. Despite what Sasuke thought, he was no superior, or an elite like he claimed he was to everyone in the leaf. Danzo also knew this, which was why the secret root leader had bribed the instructors at the academy to privately tutor Sasuke, help him get stronger, and do everything to spoil the boy in a way that the Sandaime could not stop it. Even then, the Uchiha was showing his clan's arrogance, and only showing a fraction of the prodigy like promise Itachi had. I must get back to Sasuke before I fail Danzo, thought Sai, as he leapt through the tree, but stopped when a strange buzzing sound was heard, and turned in mid-jump to see a spinning red blade coming at him before it took his left arm off at the elbow. Your detection skills are impressive. A weaker person would have been sliced in half by my lightsaber, said Naruto, as he appeared, and recalled his weapon with the force. Sai for his part was clutching the stump that was his left arm and saw the blonde boy with the glowing red blade in hand with something close to fear. After the mission to Wave Country, Danzo had given him orders not to confront Naruto unless the odds of taking him down were good, which given Sai's current condition was not possible, and the pale-skinned boy needed to flee before it was too late. Little did Sai know, it already was too late. You have information I want about your master and about why he killed my mother soon after I was born. One way or another, Sai, I will get my answers, and I will get them no matter what stands in my way, said Naruto, as he saw Sai take a few steps back, and then try to run. Only for Sai to be stopped while in midair by Naruto using the force and slamming the root subordinate into a tree before sending him into another one. Naruto did this until he sensed Sai's body was far too broken to escape, brought Danzo's servant before him while looking at the bloody face of his prey. You won't win. Danzo-sama will, said Sai, as he now cried out in pain at the horrible feeling of Naruto using the force to tear through his mind, and know all that there was to know about Ruth that this one knew. Thank you for your help, Sai-san. Let my reward to you for this vital information be that of a quick death, said Naruto, as he quickly sliced off the boy's head from his body with his lightsaber, and then putting the head in a sealing scroll. 1 down, 3 to go. Back with Orochimaru and Sasuke, your taijutsu is impressive. Indeed you are an Uchiha and Itachi's little brother, said Orochimaru, as he revealed his face to Sasuke and Sakura before the boy had charged forward into battle with the pink-haired girl watching from a distance. Shut up. I am better than my brother and I'll prove it, said Sasuke, as he pushed even harder, and saw the Sannin was still toying with him. Sasuke leapt in midair from his position, which was above the Sannin, and practically dive-bombed towards Orochimaru with the intent to use to get in a few good hits. The boy was nearly 5 feet away from the Sannin with his arm cocked back ready to slug Orochimaru in the face, but an invisible hand sent him flying through several tree trunks, and stopped with a deep imprint on the 4th tree before collapsing on the branch. What kind of jutsu was that and who used it? Thought Orochimaru in shock, as he looked around frantically for the attacker of his prey, and it was only his instincts that told him to jump out of the way that he did so to miss the chakra-covered blade that nearly sliced him in half. Greetings Orochimaru of the Sannin, I do believe we haven't met before, so allow me the honor of introducing myself before I kill you, and leave your sound village leaderless. My name is Namikaze Naruto, the Demon Hand, said Naruto, as he smiled at his Sannin behind his hooded robes, and saw Orochimaru looking at him with cautious eyes. So the infamous Kyuubi brat decides to grace me with his presence. I must admit, I do feel honored that you would introduce yourself, but I have no time for you, and must get what I came here for, said Orochimaru, as he looked hungrily at Sasuke, who was still unconscious, but showing signs of recovery, and now had his pink-haired teammate by his side. If you are referring to the Uchiha, then I suggest you not bother, since he will not live to see another day within this forest, and neither will his teammate, said Naruto, as he saw the Sannin look at him with surprise, and then anger at what this boy was telling him. As if I would let you steal my future body from me and rob me of the chance to know all the jutsus in the world, said Orochimaru, as he brought out Kusanagi from his mouth to spill the blonde's blood, and possibly disable to take back to sound for proper study. But I already have Orochimaru. In fact, I've taken more from you now than you could possibly imagine until much, much later, and there is nothing you can do to stop me, said Naruto, as he smiled deviously at Orochimaru's confused look that adorned his pale face before quickly spinning around, and threw his chakra-covered katana sword at the groggy still recovering Uchiha with blinding speed. No. My new body, yelled Orochimaru, as saw the horror that was Uchiha Sasuke being pierced by Naruto's sword right into the chest with such force that it pinned the boy directly to the tree trunk, and the echo of Sakura's banshee scream covering the forest of death. Only to be silenced by the force choke Naruto used on her before levitating her up while looking at Orochimaru with crimson eyes and feral smile that scared the Sannin shitless. What? Surprised? You actually thought I wouldn't kill the Uchiha because he is from the leaf just like I was, didn't you? In case you can't see my headband, the symbol on it is for mist, and I have no love for Konoha. However, unlike you Orochibaka, I intend to make the leaf hurt in a much more profound way, and that would be the death of the last Uchiha here during the Chunin exams, said Naruto, as made a crushing motion with his hand, and a loud sickening snap was heard followed by a thump sound of the pink-haired girl collapsing on the tree trunk she had been originally lifted off of. Curse you Namikaze. My future body is now lost to me. I will have my revenge on you soon after I deal with Konoha, said Orochimaru, as began to sink into the tree, but not before Naruto used the force to stall him long enough to target the Sannin's right arm, and crush the shoulder area beyond repair. Now Orochimaru would need a new body immediately instead of waiting another 2 whole years without Kabuto's skills to heal him. Take it as a parting gift from me to you Orochimaru, said Naruto, as he saw the man snarl, and leave the area to prevent being caught. Seeing that he was victorious, Naruto recalled his katana blade stuck in the Uchiha, who was currently still pinned to a tree using the force, and sheathed, after cleaning it before bringing out his lightsaber to take care of the excess baggage in terms of the bodies that were currently in front of him. With a few quick slices, the heads were severed, and the rest of the bodies were kicked off the tree branch into the darkness below to be eaten by the animals that lived within the forest of death. Putting the 2 heads in the sealing scroll that held Sai's own, the blonde moved to meet up with his teammates, and the Kumo team that Niyugito was with. Central tower outside of the entrance, where is he? I hope he's okay, said Yugito, as she was getting anxious, and waiting for her Naruto-kun to show up while ignoring the hidden glare that she felt from Haku. What is up with you Yugito? All this fuss for a gaki a few years younger than you. I never would have thought you were interested in young boys. What would the Raikage think? Said Amoe snickering, as he had been sent with Yugito and Karu to these exams to help Naruto carry out their plans to hurt the leaf where it would the most before their invasion later on. Shut up. You don't know him like I do, and if you badmouth him once while I'm in earshot I'll turn you into my new scratching post, said Yugito, as Amoe paled at her threat, and knew of the last unfortunate soul that became her scratching post after pissing the Nibi off, and it wasn't pretty to say the least. The said person had long since retired permanently to a bed in the psychiatric ward with several IVs connected to his body and staring up at the ceiling with a distant look on his face. While I do appreciate you coming to my defense Yugito-chan, it is not necessary, and I must ask you not maim your teammate, said Naruto, as he appeared from the shadows of trees that made up the forest of death with several scrolls in hand that were needed in order to graduate, even though he didn't need so many, and did it just in case the Kumo team had forgotten to. Naruto-kun, said Yugito, as she leapt at him with feline gracefulness, wrapping him up in a hug while purring, and rubbing her face against his cloaked head. Had Yugito turned around, she would have seen Haku getting ready to send a few senbone needles at a certain place on her body that the Nibi vessel wouldn't like, and Kimimaro had to silently restrain her arm to stop such an action. It's perfectly alright Yugito-chan, I'm here now, and I brought a gift for your team too, said Naruto, as he sent 2 scrolls to Amoe using the force, and another 2 scrolls to Haku. You're so thoughtful Naruto-kun. I simply must show my appreciation for such a gift in a more private setting, said Yugito seductively that made Amoe giggle perversely and get a blow to his head. My Karu. The hell you are, thought Haku, as she got free from Kimimaro's grip, and then pulled Yugito off her Naruto-kun before the 2 girls got into a silent glare of death contest to see which one would explode first from it. That's enough from the 2 of you. There is to be no fighting from either of you unless it's part of the exams. Since we've cleared that part of the exams where you can for the brief moment, I suggest that you 2 wait for another opportunity to do it, and within the legal parameters the exam allows, said Naruto, as he was not about to have the girls get into an alpha female pissing contest over him, and cause problems for him in the future. Sorry Naruto-kun, said Haku and Yugito at the same time when they looked at him with sounds of regret in their voice. Only to glare at each other once again when they heard the kun suffix used by the other. On a more mission-related note, my targets have been eliminated, and I need a progress report from you too, said Naruto, as he pointed to Kimimaro, and then at Haku. My mission was a success with the help of Niyugito's team in killing Kabuto and his teammates. Orochimaru will not be able to proceed as planned in the distant future, said Kimimaro, as he saw Naruto nodding in approval at this news, and then smiled at Yugito along with her teammates in accomplishing this task. That is excellent news Starkiller. Haku-chan, did the Iwa team give you trouble? Said Naruto, as he saw Haku shake her head no, and show him the scroll she recovered. No Naruto-kun. All 3 of them were disabled within moments and I acquired their Earth Scroll, which was exactly what we needed, and the scroll from Kabuto's team was given to Kumo team since they needed the Heaven Scroll, said Haku, as she saw Yugito hiss at her silently, and the female ice user smirked behind her mask. That's good news to hear. Let's go inside and rest, said Naruto, as he saw his teammates nod, and Yugito's do the same before following him inside. Central Tower 2 days later, my team just came in. Did yours make it, Kakashi? Said Kurenai, as she saw Kakashi shake his head, and was secretly becoming worried despite his masked face showing none of it with a small fraction that wasn't covered lazily reading his porn. No, but considering who the backbone of my team is, I'm confident that they will arrive shortly, and show just how strong they really are, said Kakashi, as he had his I do a U-shaped, and went back to reading his book before a cold chuckle reached their ears. Such blind arrogance you possess, Hatake Kakashi. It's no real wonder that this village has become a shadow of its former self, said Naruto, as he appeared in front of the two Jounin, and made them feel uneasy at seeing him. You seem pretty sure of yourself, Naruto, and your choice in joining Mist isn't exactly the best village to join considering they are still weak right now, said Kakashi, who put his book away, and was a bit more guarded around Naruto. Of course I am pretty sure of myself, Hatake-san. I have every right to be since I've made it to the tower using very little of my abilities. Also, I must thank you for the gifts that I got from you while in Wave, and was able to share with everyone, said Naruto, as his smile became almost sinister, and made the hairs on Kakashi's neck stand on end with the rest of the hair on his head. What gifts? Said Kurenai, as she looked from Naruto to Kakashi, and then back to Naruto. Why the 1000 jutsus that Kakashi knows along with training techniques that he uses when training to get stronger. You cannot imagine how useful they are to the Mist and myself, said Naruto, seeing the shocked look on the two Jounin's faces. I never gave anything like that to you, said Kakashi, as his fist clenched, and a look of denial was all over his masked face. Not knowingly of course, but all the same, I consider such knowledge to be a gift, and I know all the shinobi of the Mist thank you for your hard work in acquiring them all with your Sharingan. Speaking of the Sharingan, have you seen your Jonin team recently? Said Naruto in a smooth and sweet-like voice that made a cold sweat run through Hatake Kakashi's entire being. No, I haven't. They are still out in the Forest of Death, said Kakashi, but even as he said that, a chill ran up his spine, and a feeling of dread soon followed to create a pit within his stomach. Really? Because, I was under the impression that Uchiha Sasuke, being the all-great prodigy that everyone claims him to be, would have gotten here a few days ago with his team just like the Suna team, or my own team that came in with Kumos shortly after the start of the second part of this exam, said Naruto, as he saw Kakashi's eyes widen at that, and Kurenai he sensed was silently praying thanks to Kami that the blonde force user didn't run into him during the most recent of trials to become Chunin. Just what are you implying, Naruto? Said Kakashi, as he saw the smile on Naruto's face, and the sadistic streak behind it that almost reminded him of Orochimaru. Oh, nothing at all, Hatake-san. However, I do feel that you should consider the possibility that Team 7 is not going to pass the second part of the exam, and may have to consider such a loss to be entirely your fault, said Naruto, as he let out a chuckle, and saw the Jounin now looking at him with incredible rage. You have a lot of nerve telling that to me, Naruto, when you're talking to a higher-ranked shinobi, said Kakashi, who was tempted to take the kid behind the central tower, and beat him within an inch of his life. Higher in rank? Yes. Higher in terms of intelligence? I think not. And here is my proof for you to share with the Hokage, said Naruto, as he revealed a bloody scroll, and tossed it to Kakashi looking at it with fear. What is this? Said Kakashi, as he saw Naruto turn around, and began leaving the two Jounin alone to stare at the scroll. Oh, that, Hatake Kakashi, is my gift to you, and to the Hokage, though in all honesty the term gift is really a point of view. Enjoy, said Naruto before fading into the shadows. I don't think I want to know, said Kurenai, as she left to check on her team, and make sure they were all in one piece. Carefully opening the scroll, Kakashi's eye widened in horror at what was sealed inside of it, and instantly sealed the contents back up, and ran directly to the Hokage. Central Tower arena floor. A few days later, Naruto smiled at the sight before him, as he saw the great Son Daime Hokage look older than when he last saw him, and Hatake Kakashi looking like he wanted to kill him for what happened to Team 7. It was interesting how karma, or, in Naruto's case, the force worked in mysterious ways in balancing things out when lines were crossed. Naruto of course had done everything to make sure he didn't cross any lines, knowing the force would make him pay for it later, and the young Namikaze didn't want that. Behind the Son Daime was the Shinobi Council, which consisted of Koharu and Homura, with both old fossils glaring at him for killing the Uchiha. They wanted to punish the blonde for the death of Sasuke along with the rest of Team 7, but they couldn't because of the waiver they signed, and that said, in a nutshell, what happened in the Forest of Death stays within the Forest of Death, even it was death. You will pay for this, demon brat. One way or another, thought the two Shinobi Council members, as they had arranged for Naruto to do the most fighting, and tire himself out. Then Danzo's root Anbu would move in, take the boy, and begin to learn all the blonde's secrets before remolding him into their weapon. Sensing what their intentions were, Naruto just smiled further at what they thought was a foolproof plan, but then again it was made by fools, and the various fools who followed them. Naruto knew that even if he was weakened by fighting so many, Haku along with Kimimaro, and Yugito's team would be able to stop any kind of attack on his person. Not only that, but the incident would bring Kumo and Mist into the fray, with Iwa itching to take down Konoha after what happened in the last Shinobi War. After the Hokage gave his little speech for the reason behind the Chunin exam prelims, as well as the reason behind the Chunin exams as a whole, followed by the appearance of the coughing leaf Jounin Gecko Hayate, the names on the large screen that appeared behind one special Jounin Mitarashi Anko, and were now being randomly selected. Namikaze Naruto vs Aburame Shino, a worthy opponent, thought Naruto, as he looked at Shino, and gave the slightly taller boy a nod of respect before Shino did the same. The floor cleared to leave Shino and Naruto their much needed space to do battle, with the Jounin Proctor Gecko Hayate getting ready to start this match while everyone watched with anticipation at the battle before them. Many had heard only the rumors of Naruto's mysterious powers, but never witnessed them, and only once more relied on the rumors that spoke of his abilities. Ready? Fight, said Hayate, as he saw Shino instantly release a swarm of bugs upon the blonde, and the boy just standing there doing nothing except smile. Is he crazy? Those bugs will drain him dry unless he fights back, thought the spectators watching with interest. You will stop advancing upon me and retreat back into your colony, said Naruto with a small hand gesture, which made some snicker at the simple command, and wondered if this kid was for real. Imagine their surprise along with Shino's own when the bugs stopped advancing towards Naruto with just a foot of space between them and then turned around before retreating back into Shino's body. For his part, Shino was silently terrified, as he sensed his allies had been commanded by a power outside of his own, and had obeyed this foreign entity like they belonged to his opponent. The queen inside of Shino, which ruled the colony inside of his body, was also terrified, and told its host body not to risk any more of her children to this foe until whatever power Naruto used on them wore off. I surrender, said Shino, as he chose to save his colony, and it was illogical to risk the whole thing against the blonde. Winner by forfeit, and Namikaze Naruto, said Hayate, as he was shocked that it had even happened, and knew that the Hokage would want to ask Shino what the hell just happened. They wouldn't be the only ones. He just stopped Shino's insects with a simple command. What is he? Thought Kurenai, as she knew that Shino's bugs followed the queen within the hive that was within the boy, and the queen was a loyal ally of the Aburame that let him do with her bugs what he wanted provided the bugs were not harmed. If Shino surrendered, it was due to the queen inside of him telling him to for the sake of her children, and the hive in general. Meaning Naruto was wielding a power none of them could see. Neji, what do you see with your eyes? Said Lee, as he saw the Byakugan eyes from his Hyuga teammate scanning Naruto, and the branch member was frowning. It's strange. I see his chakra flow, but then I see another kind of crimson chakra that is more potent than his own, and at the same time I see something else that is not chakra. A wavy invisible energy that twists, turns, and has no focus like the wind itself, said Neji, as he saw his two teammates' eyes widen, and wondered if that was the power that Naruto used to stop Shino's bugs. All too easy, thought Naruto, as he looked at the board, and saw it going through names again at random. Namikaze Naruto vs Isis 1010, they are having him fight again. Bastards. Thought Haku, as she sensed there were fiends involved in this, and knew it surrounded the Leaf Shinobi Council. Alright. Time to show everyone what I can do, said 1010, as she leapt down to the floor gracefully and instantly drew her sword before getting into a sword. Interesting. Let's see how much skill you have with a blade, said Naruto, as he drew his own katana sword, and held it in the form 2 of the lightsaber stance known as Makashi before giving her a swordsman salute. Ready? Fight, said Hayate, as he saw the sword stance Naruto was using to be quite intriguing, and decided to watch this fight a little more than usual. For a moment, neither opponent moved against the other, but it was clear that 1010 was the more eager of the two due to the mocking smile Naruto seemed to have, and it finally broke when the blonde made a come and get me hand motion. 1010 moved with a speed worthy of her sensei's springtime of youth, as she wished to show that her skills with a blade superior to anyone around her age group, and defeat this ominous opponent before her. 1010 found it to be more difficult than she ever thought possible. He's good. That style he's using is unlike anything I've ever seen, thought 1010, as she tried to get through Naruto's defenses, but such a thing just didn't seem possible, and it was becoming increasingly frustrated. Isis 1010, you disappoint me. Your Jounin sensei holds you in such a high esteem to have you enter the Chunin exams, and advance to the next stage of your shinobi career. Surely you can do better? said Naruto smiling, as he applied the combat skill of Dun Moke upon the bun-haired girl, who took offense to this, and attacked the blonde in a rush of anger at being considered weak in comparison to him. Smiling at the sight of Tenten falling into his trap, Naruto dodged the girl's attack, and did a sweep kick that knocked the Jinan on her back with her sword soon kicked out of her hand before the blonde pointed his blade at her throat. Tenten couldn't believe that this kid, who was younger than she, had defeated her in an art she had trained in since she could first hold a weapon under her father's supervision, and saw Naruto looking back down at her with a now gentle smile behind his crimson dark hood. I yield to you, Namikaze-sama, said Tenten, as she could not deny he was the better swordsman, and it clearly showed in her submission by the use of last name with suffix. Winner is Namikaze Naruto, said Hayate, as he was impressed by Naruto's skills with the blade, and how he taunted Tenten in battle. Maybe he could use that on Yu Gao when they sparred. You have a great deal of pride within you, my dear, but remember that twice the pride is double the fall, and you did fall here today, hard, said Naruto, as he sheathed his blade, and helped Tenten up with a strong grip on her arm. Wow, he's got muscle. Whoever trained him must have been a real slave driver if not a sadist, thought Tenten, as she could feel the arm muscles that Naruto possessed, and had to resist blushing. Until we meet again another time, my dear. To get stronger, said Naruto, as he took her hand to his, and kissed the back of it in a gentlemanly manner before walking up the stairs while Tenten just blushed up a storm while walking in a zombie-like fashion back to her teammates. The next couple of matches went off without a problem, as Tsuchikin fought ever-lazy Shikamaru with young Leaf Shinan winning, if just barely mind you, and using his shadow possession jutsu to pull it off. Yamanaka Ino surrendered instantly when she saw her opponent was Nii Yugito, and the Nibi vessel had a look telling everyone she was just about ready to claw the Platinum Girl to pieces. Inuzuka Kiba fought Tamari, which was a one-sided fight, and the second fastest one so far, with Tamari swinging her fan once that sent Kiba flying into a wall after Kiba badmouthed the pigtail blonde while saying she was going to lose because she was girl while he was an alpha male. It was possibly one of the rare few times that Naruto saw the Force show him visions of this fight not change at all in the slightest, with Tamari coming out the victor. Omio killed Dosu via decapitation with his sword, while Kaoru easily took care of Zaku by slicing his arms and head clean off within seconds. However, it was the next match that made the young Namikaze frown, and the Shinobi Council members smile. Hyuga Neji vs Starkiller. How do you wish me to proceed, Naruto-sama? Said Kimimaro as he saw the Hyuga descend the stairs, and then back to his albino friend. Fight him using only your taijutsu and your sword, Starkiller. Don't use your bloodline. Not yet, said Naruto, whispering so only Kimimaro would hear him, and saw the older boy nod his head. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro before heading down, but was stopped once more by Naruto and the words he spoke next for all to hear. Don't kill or cripple him, Starkiller. That I command of you, said Naruto, as he sensed a connection between the Hyuga boy and Hyuga Hinata that must not be broken. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro as he saw Hyuga Hinata looking at Naruto now with appreciation, and looked to see Neji already in his gentle fist stance. You should give up, said Neji, as he activated his Byakugan, and Kimimaro shook his head no. I cannot. I owe Naruto-sama too much to simply disobey him now. If Naruto-sama asks me to, I will give my life to ensure victory in his, and the Mizukage-sama's honor, said Kimimaro as he got into his taijutsu stance, and prepared to do battle with Neji. Kimimaro, cover your skin with bone plating underneath your clothing in order to help protect yourself from your opponent's blows, as he will use his eyes to shut down chakra points, and shred internal organs within your body if you are not careful, said Naruto through the force to the albino, and Kimimaro mentally nodded in understanding before he did as instructed. It was close considering how much Kimimaro had to hold back, Neji's eyes that were used in a combination with the Hyuga's gentle fist, and the fact Naruto ordered the albino not to hurt Neji in a way that would permanently damage him. However, in the end, Kimimaro did become victorious in his battle over Neji when using his sword, and wounding Neji from the shoot down his back. After that, Kimimaro soon had the boy pin calling for Neji to submit or possibly bleed to death from all the wounds he was given from this battle. Neji didn't get a chance to decide, as the Jounin Proctor announced Kimimaro to be the winner, and the albino slowly removed his blade along with his person away from the Hyuga branch member. Fate decided our match, said Neji, as he got up from the ground, and saw Kimimaro shake his head no once more. No, Hyuga Neji. It was not fate that decided the outcome of this match, but rather the spirit that comes from each of the combatants that fought, and the stronger of the two won. Think about it, said Kimimaro as he returned to Naruto's side, and bowed to the blonde with the boy nodding in approval of the albino's actions. Hyuga Hinata vs Subaku no Konkuro, time to show everyone what I can do, thought Hinata, as she walked down the steps, and Konkuro did the same, though a bit on the arrogant side, with a smile on his face. Just to let you in on a little secret here, Hyuga, I'm not like the other members of my family here, and I'll give you this one chance to give up, said Konkuro, as smirked at the Hyuga girl, who activated her bloodline, and went into her gentle fist stance that was the mirror image of Neiji's own. Time to show me how much you've grown, Hinata-chan, thought Naruto, as he smirked at girl his age, and wondered if she was indeed strong like he hoped she was. Ready? Fight, said Hayate, as he brought his hand down to start the match, and in an instant Hinata was upon a surprised Konkuro, since he thought that she was one of those gentle, hesitant to hurt others kind of girl. How wrong he was. Hinata saw the truth behind the Suna Shinobi's tactic and countered it by going right after the bundle in Konkuro's arms to reveal it was really Konkuro himself, with the puppet that everyone thought was the him really being controlled via chakra strings. Though it was seen easily by Hinata, as she targeted them first, and then Konkuro quite literally wrapped up for her to handle. All he needed was a red bow on his head, and the gift wrapping of this victory would be complete. Winner, Hyuga Hinata, said Hayate, as he declared Hinata the winner, and saw her bow to the fallen enemy before heading up the flight of stairs. And came face to face with Naruto. Your skills and your bloodline are most impressive, Hyuga Hinata. Had anyone else fought Konkuro, it would have taken them quite some time before the truth was even discovered, and by the time it had, Konkuro would have been the victor, said Naruto, as he saw the others nod, and even Haku would admit such a tactic could have even worked against her Senbone needle attack, since the puppet would have been more resistant to it. Thank you, Naruto-kun, said Hinata, as she knew that such praise from the blonde was in a way an honor unto itself, and saw out of the corner of her eyes the cautious, tense look in her sensei's eyes. Turning to face the board, Naruto now saw the next list of names, and now frowned at the sight of it. Namikaze Naruto vs Subaku no Gaara, oh no, thought Yugito, as she saw the look of bloodlust in Gaara's eyes, and then at Naruto's calm-looking ones. Interesting. Then again, the future is always in motion, said Naruto to himself, as he leapt down, and slowed in midair in a dramatic fashion. Mother wants your blood. She originally wanted the Uchihas, but I smell some of his on you already, and that can only mean you killed him in the forest of death, said Gaara, which got looks of shock and horror from the various leaf shinobi that had not heard this news. Perhaps, but now is not the time for such talk, Subaku no Gaara, said Naruto, as he saw how the Shinobi Council, and Kakashi glaring at him for his actions. Ready? Fight, said Hayate, as he saw Gaara free his sand the instant the last word was spoken, and launched it at the blonde. Naruto dodged the sand, as he moved with incredible speed that made Gaara's attempts to catch him very difficult, and it was clear that the red-haired boy's power was not meant to be this offensive in terms of combat. It easily made Gaara annoyed that he couldn't move his sand fast enough to catch Naruto, as he kept missing one chance after the next, and making the Suna Shinobi look like a joke. I sense much fear in you, Subaku no Gaara. Yes. You have hate, you have anger, and yet I sense you do not know how to use it properly, said Naruto, as he used Dunmoke on Gaara like he did on Tenten, and it only made Gaara angrier with his mother calling for the blonde's blood. I'll kill you, said Gaara, as he shot more sand at Naruto, and was becoming more and more psychotic for everyone to see. Really? Would you really wish to kill your own mother? Said Naruto, as he used the force to use the skill of the alter image power that changed his image into Gaara's real mother, and made the red-haired boy stop in shock, while his other two siblings were also surprised by this. He looks just like the Kazekage's late wife Karura. But, how? Thought Baki in shock, as he wondered if his mind was playing tricks on him, and saw that this was no henge. At least not one he had ever seen before. Gaara, my brave little boy. You've grown, said Karura, as the form of Gaara's biological mother walked towards the boy, and the Shukaku vessel lost control of his sand. And mother? Said Gaara, as his mind fell upon the illusion, and wondered what cruel trick this was. Yes, Gaara-kun. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you after your birth. I really wanted to, but your father used my life force to perform the sealing on you, and caused us both great pain, said Karura, as she walked towards Gaara, and saw the Suna-born boy looking ready to have a mental breakdown. He tried to make me into a weapon. He never saw me as his son, said Gaara, as he was nearly in tears, and saw the woman in front of him smile kindly down at him. I know Gaara-kun. He did it to combat the other shinobi villages, who were turning the demon vessels they had in their possession into weapons, and bring Suna back into the spotlight of greatness. Though I must admit, his method of doing it was a bit crude, and cruel to both of us, said Karura, as she was now a few feet away from Gaara, and saw the youngest of the Kazekage's children nodding his head in agreement. "I hate him," said Gaara, as he had wanted to kill his father for so long, and yet was so busy doing what the man wanted in terms of missions. "I know, Gaara-kun. As for now, let's not focus on him, but rather your fight with little old me, and how you were going to use the very sand that is an extension of myself," said Karura, as she saw the sand retreat back into his gourd, and him shaking his head no to the idea. "I can't. I won't fight you," said Gaara, as he couldn't fight his mother, and wouldn't do it no matter what Shikaku was telling him. "Winner my forfeit, Namikaze Naruto," said Hayate, as he saw the form of Karura now change back into Naruto, and saw the shocked redhead look at him in surprise. "Why you impersonated my mother to get me to surrender?" said Gaara in disbelief, as he was sure that this kid was the same age as him, and had never known what the woman looked like. "Would you have preferred I used that power to kill you? At least this way, you get to live to see another day, and head back to Suna to kill your old man," said Naruto, as he saw Gaara get up, and glare angrily at him. "That's low," said Konkuro, as he knew that the subject about their mother was a sore subject, and even more so with Gaara. This coming from a guy, who has dolls fight for him, and wears his sister's makeup while calling it war paint, said Naruto, seeing Tamari smirk at that while Konkuro was getting pissed off. "It is war paint," yelled Konkuro, who would have gone down there to teach Naruto a lesson, but stopped when Tamari hit him in the back of the head, and began belittling him for being a baka. "Yeah. You keep telling yourself that," thought Naruto, as he began walking away, but was stopped when he found sand had wrapped around his body, and Gaara posed to kill him. "I'm going to tear you to pieces." Gaara, as his sand was now alive once more with life blocking the senbon needles Haku aimed at him, and ignoring Hayate telling the redhead that the match was over. "No, you're not," said Naruto in a deadly whisper, as he called upon a large portion of the force, and used force repel that freed him from the sand constricting sand, much to Gaara's own shock. What happened next would scare everyone around Naruto to no end. The blonde turned fully to face Gaara before moving even faster than when he dodged the sand from their fight and slammed his fist right into Gaara's gut before Naruto began landing blow after blow upon the Suna boy's person. The Suna siblings, their sensei Baki, the leaf shinobi from Jinan to Jounin, and the Hokage himself were stunned at Naruto manhandling Gaara like he was a helpless child. A solid uppercut sent Gaara flying back into the wall before collapsing onto the ground, as he struggled to get up, but found the pain to be too much, even with the sand armor that covered his body, and it felt like Naruto had hit him like he didn't wear it at all. For Gaara, it didn't make sense since no one had ever hit him once, and this person was doing it like it was a natural thing to him, like breathing. Speaking of natural things like breathing, Gaara was surprised to soon found himself floating in midair, and was slowly choking via the invisible hand wrapped around his throat. "Is this what it feels like when I kill people with my sand?" thought Gaara, as he was soon thrown from one side of the room to the next before he hit the large hand sign statue, and then thrown a short distance from it to land a few feet from Naruto. "Now you will meet your end for your lack of respect," said Naruto, as he reached out to the force with his hand, and the sound of rumbling was heard from the statue he had just thrown Gaara into before it slowly started to rise off the ground. To everyone's horror, the statue moved closer to the two, and Gaara saw Naruto's eyes went from blue to a menacing crimson color with a hint of yellow with slits with the rage in them like the Shikaku vessel had not seen. It seemed unreal that this boy his age could even command such a large object like it was a natural thing, and wondered if this was a power the Kyuubi somehow gifted its vessel. "Please don't." "No," said Gaara, as he tried desperately to get away from the boy, but his injuries prevented him from moving, and saw the instrument of his death slowly moving towards him. "Young fool. Only now, at your end, do you finally understand?" said Naruto, as he was about to make Gaara nothing more than a smear on the floor, and would have done so had his own teammates not interfered on the red-haired boy's behalf. "Please stop, Naruto-sama," said Kimimaro, as he appeared in front of Gaara ready to pick up the boy, and get him to safety while Haku was by Naruto's side. "He's right, Naruto-kun. Look at Gaara's eyes and how they are filled with fear. Show him this act of mercy, as he is your kin, and needs to know he is not alone," said Haku in a whispery voice, and saw the conflict in Naruto to smite Gaara. Closing his eyes, Naruto pushed the large object back, and let it crash into the wall where it had been sitting against before letting out a tired sigh at using such restraint not killing Gaara. Opening his eyes, Naruto showed they were once more blue again, but they were still cold, and were like steel to everyone who saw them. "Be thankful they asked me to show mercy to you, Subaku no Gaara. Such an act is a rare thing I do, and I am not so forgiving to those that betray what mercy I give them," said Naruto, as he walked with Haku back up the steps before sitting down in a meditative stance with the girl right beside him, with Kimimaro doing the same on the opposite side. That was unreal, thought everyone, as Gaara slowly rose from the ground after Tamari, Baki, and Konkuro appeared to help him to his feet with a look of understanding on his face. Tamari. Konkuro. Baki-sensei. We need to talk, in private, said Gaara in whispered voice that lacked the bloodlust he normally did, and it sounded more like a boy his age should sound. Of course, little brother, said Tamari, as she realized that this action by Naruto had helped change Gaara possibly for the better, and mentally thanked the blonde for what he did. The remaining fight that followed was Haku fighting Choji, who had the unfortunate experience of becoming a human pincushion, and was too paralyzed to move. The only left that didn't fight was Lee, who had been bellowing in sorrow with his teacher for a good 5 minutes in a genjutsu while hugging, and crying about being denied the chance to show the springtime of youth. They would have done more had Kimimaro not drawn his blade and tried to cut them in half before telling them never to do that again. Each of you that qualified will now pick one slip of paper from this box and receive a number, which after being processed with the others will help determine who you fight in 1 month's time, and to learn something new for the people that will see you compete in the Chunin exam stadium, said the Hokage, as he looked at Naruto, and saw the boy smirking at him with a devious smile that sent chills up the old man's spine. One by one, they each picked a slip of paper, and Ibiki wrote them down on his clipboard before showing them the results of who they would all fight. Match 1, Namikaze Naruto vs Osmosis Omoi. Match 2, Niyugido vs Subaku no Tamari. Match 3, Starkiller vs Kasukaro. Match 4, Nara Shikamaru vs Momochi Haku. Match 5, Rock Lee vs Hyuga Hinata. Great. I face a girl, then another girl if Hinata wins, and if not then I face a weirdo who is wearing green spandex that hugs an adult version of himself to create a genjutsu that is very disturbing. Troublesome, thought Shikamaru, as he looked at the masked girl that took down Choji in a heartbeat, and knew it was going to happen to him no matter what. You all know whom you face. Dismissed, said the Hokage, as he saw the Mist team leave, and knew he had 1 month to find out what happened with Naruto before the Chunin exam finals happened. What's more was how the public was going to take the Uchiha's death and just who it was that killed him. Looking at the statue that Naruto somehow picked up, the old Cage wondered if this was a sign of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that it was that of doom for the village. Omake Naruto abusing the mind trick. Naruto was always one to get a good laugh out of life despite the dark arts he learned from Darth Sidious and Darth Vader, since laughter was something that was universal in itself. So whether he was in Konoha, Mist, or somewhere on another planet in one portion of the large galaxy that was the universe, it was up to Namikaze Naruto to bring laughter to it. Today was no exception, as he saw Neji training by himself, and had an idea that would make many feel the end of this world was fast approaching. Oh yes. It was a good, powerful, and evil idea, depending on your point of view, that not even the 2 Dark Lords of the Sith would not wish upon the unsuspecting Hyuga Neji. Hyuga Neji, can I talk to you for a second? Said Naruto, as he walked over to the boy, who saw Naruto, and was a little guarded after seeing the display of power the blonde used to take down Gaara. You may, said Neji, as he wondered what Naruto wanted to talk to him about, and felt a chill run up his spine. I was just wondering if you understood what your sensei and his tiny clone were talking about during the prelims when he missed his chance to fight, said Naruto, as he saw Neji shiver at the memory of the genjutsu, and knew it was something in the leaf that no one wanted to understand. In all honesty, Namikaze-sama, I would prefer not to think about it, and try to burn the memories of every single moment they do it from my mind, said Neji, as he knew that to be disrespectful to Naruto could mean your death, and unimaginable suffering before that even happened. I see. Then I will have to help you with that, said Naruto, as he now called upon the force, and saw Neji frowning in confusion. How can you help with? Said Neji, but he stopped when he felt a strange pressure build around him, and inside his mind while Naruto put in motion his prank. Oh yes. It was truly a good, powerful, and evil, again depending on your point of view, prank. With Mito Guy, Rock Lee, and Isis Tenten, I still can't believe I lost to that Naruto kid in the ways of swordsmanship when I'm the best of my age group, said Tenten, as she sat on a tree stump while Lee hit a training post with Mito Guy watching him. With all due respect, Tenten, you are the only one in our age that wields a sword, and uses swordsmanship, said Lee, as hits the training post again, and then yelps in pain when a kunai hit him in the ass after it was thrown at him by Tenten. Shut up, yelled Tenten, as she swore to one day beat Naruto, and prove she was just as strong as men. Surely her secret shrine to Senjutsu Nade was proof of that, right? Right? Whatever became of the argument between them on the matter was soon closed when Neji appeared before his team and caused them to have their jaws drop at the sight of him. Why? Well, it seems the young Hyuga branch family had forsaken his traditional Hyuga robes for that of green spandex and bowl-shaped haircut with super thick fuzzy eyebrows. How he managed the last part his teammates did not know. Hyuga clan compound. At the moment Hyuga Hyashi woke up feeling pain for some odd reason before he got off the ground while trying to remember what happened prior to being knocked out. Walking along his clan compound for some kind of answers, he noticed the other Hyuga around him were snickering, and trying to keep themselves from laughing. Frowning, Hyashi made his way to a nearby pond, and stared into the water before his jaw dropped at the sight of his eyebrows. Or rather, the lack of eyebrows to be more precise. What the fuck happened to my eyebrows? Where the fuck are my eyebrows? Yelled Hyuga Hyashi, as he was going to hurt whoever did this to him, and make them pay dearly for this. Back with Mito Guy's team, Yosh. Neji finally has embraced the springtime of youth. I am so happy I could cry, yelled Guy, as he along with Lee hugged, and yes they did do a lot of crying before Neji did another thing that made things more shocking for his team. Did I mention it was a point of view? He joined them in their hugging, their crying, and Neji even became a part of that horrible genjutsu with the Hyuga branch family symbol in the sun that was now shining down on the trio with the beach they were now on. They were so wrapped up in their moment, they missed Tenten running for her life, and screaming out in fright saying the words "It's finally happened." All the way to Naruto's hotel room. The next thing Naruto knew, the girl before him was on her knees, head now touching the floor, and begging him to take her to Mist to become a shinobi there. All is happening just as I have foreseen, thought Naruto with Kyubi laughing with him in his mind, as he agreed to take Tenten to Mist before she jumped with joy onto him, and seconds later they were soon doing other activities with the blonde force user having to use his skills force to levitate a do not disturb sign on his doorknob. And omake.